Welcome to the X Factor presented by Xfinity alongside the Pro Bowler TJ Lang. I'm Dannie Rogers. We're breaking down who needs to be the X Factor for Detroit to pull out a win against those Cincinnati Bengals in Week 6 and who needs to step up to the plate for the Bengals so they can get a bounce back win on the road in Detroit. All right, TJ, first up, we're going with Detroit's X Factor. We're going to the defensive side of the ball.
We are. Yeah, it's been a while.
But, I love it. Let's do it.
This guy, a little slow start to the season, but Tracy Walker's the leader back there. He's the captain on the defense. He's making sure he's getting everybody in the right spot. Last week, I thought, was his best game easily. 9 tackles. He had the TFL. He had this big tip. I know he didn't get credit for the interception, but he gets the tip right here. That forces the interception. Lions, their first or their second takeaway in that game. The really only reason why they were in that game is because of the takeaways, right? You see this play from Tracy. We'll take a look at the back view. You can kind of see him coming in here a little bit late. Just gets his hands on it, disrupts the receiver, easy interception going back the other way. Big play for that team in that moment, right? Minnesota's down within field goal range in the red zone. Tracy comes up with a big play. But this one, when you talk about attitude of the defense, this situation last week, I'm sure everybody was like me, what the heck is Minnesota doing? Why are they running the ball with 20 seconds left? I don't know if they're just trying to pad the stats, whatnot, but you know what? We don't care if they're running plays. We're still playing. You see Tracy Walker come down here inside the box. He's going to defeat a tackle, and he's going to lay this hit that is just, I mean, it was massive on the field. You could hear it probably up in the press box. You see the way he reacts. All excited. You see the team. This is the last play of half. So going into halftime, that kind of gives you the juice. That kind of gives you the momentum a little bit when you lay a big hit like that. You're going in the locker room and maybe it's a little bit more rah-rah than it was, if you hadn't mmade that play. And obviously it showed because the Lions come out in the second half, force a 3 and out. The narrative on this team has kind of flipped a little bit. I think everybody thinks, the Lions secondary is young. The defense isn't very good. They've allowed 19 points, 24 points. If you do that in the NFL consistently, you should win a lot of football games. So I thought this last week was their best performance. You take away the 150-yard run that Madison had. I mean, you're holding him to probably 3 yards a carry, and you get the 2 takeaways, and you give your team a chance to win the game. But I think it really started with Tracy. I thought his play last week popped off on the screen, and Tracy's going to have to play the exact same game he did last week. Be effective in the run game, and when Cincinnati's going to try to pass the ball, make sure you're in the right spot. Make sure you're communicating to the young guys. Everybody knows who they're responsible for, and do what you're doing in the last couple. Keep taking the ball away because that's going to give yourself a chance to win.
I know head coach Dan Campbell echoed your sentiments, best defensive game they've had so far. And then in terms of who we're going to see in Cincinnati, you just said, we saw Justin Jefferson last week against Minnesota.
Yeah.
We're going to see his former LSU teammate this week in the past game. Justin Jefferson had over 100 yards going into the second half at Minnesota. So who's your X Factor for Cincinnati?
It's Jamar Chase. Just a dynamic receiver. I mean, he's second in the league right now in touchdowns, first in the league in catches over 40 yards. He has 4 of them. So he's a big play guy. You take a look. He's up here last week against Green Bay. He's just going to run kind of a simple, go route up the sideline. Play kind of breaks down. The offensive line's giving protection. He's going to cut it all the way back across the middle of the field. I mean, this is probably a 10-second play. He's going to get the big play, just barely, but he's in the end zone, touchdown. That's a big play. That's the type of player that he is. And the next play comes in overtime. It's a tie game, 22-22. Somebody's got to make a play. Who are they going to go to? Their best receiver, although he's a rookie, they're going to trust him. You see him at the bottom of the screen here. Just the routes that he runs are so crisp, and I think he reminds you a lot of a Justin Jefferson type of guy with his age and the way that he's able to, respond to the ball and this back shoulder throw, just turning around. But the footwork, I think, is just so impressive right there, just tapping it down. And everybody's saying, there's no way he caught that, right? The way he contorts his body and how crisp he is and running those routes, I mean, take a look right. That is just incredible. 1-2, just incredible. Give him a chance to go win the game. Obviously, 17 missed field goals and extra points in that game. Green Bay was able to get the last one and make it. But if you're Cincinnati, I mean, you can bet they're going to come in here targeting number 1 a lot because every time they've called his number so far, he's been able to produce. And he's a big reason why that team has made such a drastic turnaround from last season.
Sure thing. So in order for those explosive plays not to happen, guys like safety Tracy Walker have to step up. What's got to be the key in the secondary to slow down that passing game?
I think it's communication. We've seen a lot through the last couple weeks, guys just dropping 7 into coverage, 8 into coverage sometimes, and guys still being wide open. Just kind of let you know that maybe there's just 1 or 2 guys that just didn't really understand where they're supposed to be. So the communication is the first thing. But also I think a guy like Amani who traveled a lot with Justin Jefferson last week, he's probably going to be the guy that's going to have to step up this week on Jamar Chase. He's probably going to travel with him a lot. I think they feel like he's probably their best man-to-man corner. But when you do run the zones, when you do run some blitzes, you got to make sure everybody's on the same page, right? Make sure the awareness is there. If you're sending 6, 7 blitzers, you know the quarterback's not going to have a ton of time. So do your coverage, jam at the line, get ready to get your head around and make a play on the ball. I think that'll be important. Joe Burrow is incredibly accurate. He's completing over 70% of his passes, but if you're able to get a pass rush on him and disrupt him a little bit, he's going to give you a chance to take the ball away as well.
All righty, we'll see what happens. Bengals coming to town to Detroit for a 1 p.m. kickoff this Sunday. For TJ Lang, I'm Dannie Rogers. That was the X Factor presented by Xfinity.